For nearly a full minute, Ethan couldn't move. The rain came down harder now, cold needles stabbing the back of his neck, but the little girl didn't seem to feel it at all. She just smiled up at him, her small hand wrapped around his wrist with surprising confidence. "Inside," she said. "Don't worry, we're okay. Mama says God is watching." The words were simple, but something in the way she said them, soft, assured, unshaken, pulled him forward more sharply than any security guard ever had. He let her lead him under the narrow metal awning of a worn, cracked apartment building. The steps were uneven, the paint peeling in dull flakes, but she stepped across them as if they were the gates of a palace. Inside the hallway, the lights flickered a tired yellow. Water dripped somewhere, steady like a ticking clock. The whole place smelled of wet cement and old cooking oil, but it was warm. Not physically, but warm in a way Ethan hadn't felt in years. Lila, because she had introduced herself with a proud smile earlier, let go of his hand and shook her damp hair like a puppy. "You're really tall," she announced, planting her hands on her hips. "You almost hit the doorway." Ethan glanced up. He hadn't even noticed. He wasn't used to noticing small things. He wasn't used to noticing anything except numbers, deadlines, and signatures, but here, everything felt visible. He followed her deeper into the corridor, careful not to slip on the wet tiles. "Lila," he said quietly, "are you sure your mom won't mind that you brought a stranger home?" "Not a stranger," she said immediately. "A helper." He blinked. What?" She nodded confidently, her ponytail bouncing. "You helped me first. When your card didn't work, I helped you. So now we're even. And since we're even, you're not a stranger anymore." Stranger, helper, even words so simple they felt like they were carved straight into him. She didn't know who he was, she didn't know the weight of his name, she didn't know the billion-dollar company, the interviews, the security, the glass office towering over a world he never touched. She saw only a man who looked lost, and she helped him freely. Something tightened in his throat. The hallway led to a small apartment door at the end, painted a tired blue. Lila knocked twice, quick knocks, cheerful. "Mama. I'm home. And I brought someone." A voice replied from inside. Exhausted, gentle. "Who, baby?" Before Lila could answer, the door cracked open. A woman in her early 30s stood there, her hair pulled back in a messy bun, her apron still dusted with flour. Her eyes went immediately to Ethan, big, cautious eyes that scanned him from shoes to face. Ethan straightened automatically, suddenly aware of the expensive watch on his wrist, his tailored jacket, his shoes worth more than their rent. He looked out of place, more than that, he looked wrong here. "This is Ethan," Lila announced proudly. "He's my new friend." Her mother's eyebrows lifted. "A friend?" Ethan cleared his throat. "We met on the street. She, helped me." It was such a weak explanation, but Lila nodded as if it were the most accurate summary in the world. "He was scared," she added helpfully. "Mama, his card stopped working and he didn't know where to go." Her mother's expression softened slightly. "You can come in," she said after a moment. "Only for a bit. The storm is bad." Ethan stepped inside. The apartment was small, shockingly small. One room served as a kitchen, living room, and dining area. The furniture didn't match. The curtains were sewn together from two different fabrics. But the air smelled like warm bread, and every surface was kept neatly and lovingly. A home made out of almost nothing, yet it felt more real than his mansion full of marble and silence. "Sit," Lila ordered happily, pointing to a chair that wobbled slightly. Saturday he had never sat on anything so unstable in his life. Her mother turned back to the small stove. "I didn't catch what happened," she said over her shoulder. "Lila brings home cats, stray dogs, broken toys. This is her first adult." "Mama!" Lila gasped dramatically. "He's not broken." Ethan almost choked on a laugh. "I might be," he murmured under his breath. Her mother turned to look at him properly. Her eyes were tired, but kind. "I'm Anna," she said. "You look like someone who doesn't end up on this side of town by accident." "I didn't," Ethan admitted, "but it was a necessary accident." Anna studied him silently. The storm rumbled outside. "Are you in trouble?" she asked softly. "No," he said then, after a pause, "just lost." Anna nodded. "We've all been lost at some point. Sit. Dry off." "Lila, towel." Lila scampered off into the tiny bedroom and returned with a towel so worn it was almost transparent. She held it out proudly. "You can use this. It's clean. Mama washed it today." Ethan took it carefully, As if it were something fragile. Thank you, he said gently. Lila swung her legs as she climbed onto the chair beside him. You look like you don't walk much. He blinked. What makes you say that? You walk like your feet just woke up, she said matter-of-factly. Mama says people who don't walk forget how the world feels. Her words hit him harder than he expected. He rubbed the towel over his hair slowly. Your mama is wise. She is. Lila agreed, beaming. Mama says God watches us when nobody else does. She says that's why we should share, even when we have little. Anna smiled faintly at the stove. It's what I learned when I lost my husband, she said without looking back. You realize the world doesn't owe you anything, but you owe kindness to it. Ethan swallowed. He had built his empire believing the opposite, that the world owed him, that success was protection, that money was certainty. But here, a widow working 2 jobs. A child with a torn backpack. A home held together by love and patched curtains. They had less than he could imagine, yet they shared more than he ever had. Anna placed a small bowl of soup in front of him, simple, thin, but warm. Ethan stared at it. No one had cooked for him in years. Eat, Anna said softly. Warm food helps the lost find their way back. His throat tightened. Thank you, he whispered. Lila leaned on the table, watching him with curious excitement. Ethan? Yes? Do you know what I think? What? I think God sent you here. He froze. The spoon paused halfway to his mouth. Why would you think that? He asked gently. She shrugged. You look sad. Mama says when someone sad comes to you, you're supposed to make them less sad. So, maybe that's why you came. He couldn't speak. His throat burned. No boardroom, no investor, no billionaire he had ever met had spoken words that cut this deeply. He looked at her, small, hopeful, bright. She had so little, but gave so much. She was poor, yet she gave. He was rich, yet he felt hollow. Outside, the storm raged on, but inside this tiny apartment, something in his chest finally, quietly, cracked open. For the first time in years, Ethan felt human, and it scared him and healed him all at once. Thank you, he said again, voice breaking slightly, for letting me in. Anna met his eyes with a knowing softness. Everyone deserves a place to rest, she said, even the ones who forget they need it. Ethan lowered his head, the warmth of the soup rising into the cold corners of his heart. He didn't know what tomorrow held. He didn't know why he felt drawn to this place, but he knew one thing: this meeting wasn't an accident. It wasn't coincidence. It was the first step toward the man he was meant to become. And deep down, as the storm carried on, he felt something he hadn't felt in a lifetime: hope.